I've carried a knife every single day since I was about 9 years old. Now, I've learned a thing or two about what makes a knife good or bad for everyday carry. So, today's video, we're going to cover what I think is the best everyday carry knife and why.
I'll get into the specifics on why I like the knives that I like later, but for now, I'll just give you the top 3 that are in my weekly rotation. Number 1 is the Benchmade Tagged Out. I really like this knife because it's super sharp. It's got a CPM 154 blade. It's extremely lightweight, and it's not an overly big knife. And that squirrel is making more noise. If I had my 22, I could show you guys just how good this knife is at skidding things. It is on the pricier side of what I like for everyday carry, just because I use my everyday carry knives a lot, and so I'm pretty scared of destroying them. And so this knife is kind of more on the special occasion side of things. The other one I like to carry, which isn't actually a knife at all, is the Leatherman rebar. Sometimes you need a few more tools than just a knife to get things done. I prefer Leatherman multi-tools. I think they make the best ones. The rebar is a very heavy duty multi-tool compared to other ones. I know some guys that like Gerber. I never really got into Gerber, so I'm just a big Leatherman guy. I also have yet to see another company make a saw as good as Leatherman saw. Now, the last one I like to carry is actually a little bit more uncommon. This is the Outdoor Element Scout Feather. It's a fixed blade knife, but it's not an overly big fixed blade knife. The sheath also has a clip on it, which is left-handed, but I don't really mind, just because if I have this thing, I don't need to draw it too quick anyway, so I just carry it the way it is. Now, I like this knife because it has a thicker spine to it, which just gives it a lot more beef and just makes me not scared that I think I'm gonna break it. Like, if I have the Tagged Out, this thing has a pretty thin blade on it, so I'm a little nervous if I have to pry into something. I'm not nervous if I have to pry into something with this. I really like the way this knife fits. A lot of smaller fixed blades, they make the handle too thin and it gets really hard to grip. This one I think fits perfectly, kind of in my fingers a little bit more than anything else. If I had to pick one of those 3 to carry for the rest of my life, it would probably be the rebar, just from a practicality standpoint. But if I had to choose one knife, it would probably be the Tagged Out, because it's a really good steel. It's a really lightweight knife. Now, when it comes to choosing an everyday carry knife, you have to consider a few things. Now, some of those things might include how tough the knife is, whether it's reasonably priced, what the materials are, and whether or not it actually makes sense to carry every single day. There we go. The first thing that I want to cover is durability. Most of the time with your everyday carry knives, you're not going to put it through anything too strenuous that's going to be detrimental to your blade. I, however, must be the exception to this rule, because I can't help but break knives. This one, for instance, this is the SOG Aegis. This is a really good knife, except I broke the tip off of it. How did I break the tip off of it? I broke the tip of this knife when I was screwing the sling bolt of Elite Infield in, and I was using the back of my knife and I was turning it, and it just snapped the tip off of my knife. That took a good 1/4 inch off the top of this thing, and I tried my best to sharpen it back to where it should be, but I couldn't really do that. It's really easy to get caught up in the fanciness and flashiness of a knife like this one and not pay attention to your blade and how fragile something like that can be. Now, this is an $80 knife. At least it was when I bought it. And it has a D2 blade. $80 for D2 is kind of unreasonable in my opinion. Carrying a knife that is 6 inches long, folded, and only has a 3-inch blade is a little bit of a disappointment. Some of you guys might be able to relate. Now, this is a really cool knife, but at the end of the day, this is more of a show knife than anything else. A knife that I don't think makes sense to carry every single day would be the SOG Kiku. I really like this knife. It's got a good steel, it's beefy, and it looks really cool. Now, the problem with this knife is one of the reasons I like it. It is really, really beefy. This is an extremely strong knife. I don't remember what the lock is rated for, but it's something ridiculous, like 1,500 pounds. The blade is ridiculously thick. The handle is equally as ridiculously thick, but this thing weighs a lot. I think this thing weighs like 10 or 12 ounces. Yeah, I have no clue where I got 10 to 12 ounces from. I weighed this thing and I got 5.8, roughly 5.8, and SOG's website says 5.6. That's still kind of ridiculous for a 7-inch knife, but you know, it's not 10 ounces ridiculous. Which for a knife that is only 7 inches long is kind of ridiculous. This is not a knife that you put in your pocket and forget you have it there until you need it. This is going to remind you of its presence every single step you take. If you're into the idea of your pants sagging to the side you carry your knife on every single day, this is actually a really good knife to look at. Another thing I'd like to mention is that for 99% of situations, you're not going to need an extremely expensive knife. I like the Benchmade tagged out, but it's pricey, and I get a little bit scared when I carry that thing. This Contour Scout was $65 no, it was $45. I'm not gonna feel too bad about doling the crap out of this thing or breaking the tip off of it. If I break the tip off of my Benchmade tagged out, I'm probably gonna cry. Now, I understand if you're like part of a search and rescue team, or you know, you're on SEAL Team 6, but for most other people, you probably can get away with a $50 or $60 knife. All right, I want to keep this video pretty short and lighthearted because this kind of weather is absolutely abhorrent. I'll break this. Come here, kitty. Okay. All right, big guy. Now, about the only thing that's keeping me from getting depressed from this weather is this joyful cat, this joyful orange cat. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it's a lot sunnier wherever you're at, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I abhor ugliness. Does this mean we're no longer friends?